Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sandeep Chaudhary and this is the first video for the website blogtandoori.com. We're privileged and honored to have Dr. Ayon Bhattacharjee with us. He's a professor and dean in NIT Meghalaya National Institute of Technology. Well, this website doesn't only deal with the students who are in science, it deals with arts, commerce and all the other plethora of subjects that we have. So as a general information, NIT is basically an institute of national importance in India if you're watching it abroad. And we are having courses like engineering courses mostly in these institutes. It's in the second tier compared to IIT. So before I start the lecture today, I'd like to please ask you to be in touch with this website and of course the YouTube channel for more content. So without further delay, I'd just like to give a basic introduction of what we are exactly going to discuss today. We're not going to have any kind of interview, sir. We're just going to have a basic discussion on today. So the topic for today is basically we have a pandemic scenario right now and we are in mid of July and we have a scenario where online classes, online teaching and all has become a very important part of the education system throughout the world in fact. So we're just going to discuss on that. So before I really start with this, sir, the first question is, have you really used the concept of online teaching right now?
Yes and no, because getting a definition for online teaching is something very difficult. It's out of my comprehension. I can easily explain quantum mechanics to you, but what you mean by online education, that's a very difficult concept. People are doing all sorts of things. Okay. If you think that bombarding WhatsApp with notes is education of any sort, I'm sorry to say that's not education. Leave apart online education. But if it's done properly in some proper methodical way, okay, you have say whatever commercial tools are available, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, or all the smaller ones, whatever is available. You do it properly, okay, that can be classified as online education. And that way, okay, I'll say I've used a little bit of it. Though even, I'll say I'm just a learner of that right now.
So what's your take on dumping notes on WhatsApp and basically converting it to a WhatsApp university of sorts?
That's just something very useless. I have seen examples. One of the very renowned institutes in my city, what the maths teacher did, entire integral calculus, he solved it in a notebook, he took pictures, and that too, because teachers are not used to online things, so what he did was something like this. He took the note, he held the camera this way. Mm-hmm. So the image we get is something of this sort. Right. Okay, and this way he took photographs of the entire calculus course, entire integral calculus course, sent it to students, and he didn't even number the pages. Can a student who doesn't know anything about integral calculus decipher which page it comes after which one? Because what happens in WhatsApp is the pictures get randomized. Okay, the student brought it to me, even I could not decipher. Okay. So if that is just dumping, nothing more than that, and that's happening across all the things. I've seen colleges doing the same, class 12 level doing the same.
I think for school it becomes even more difficult to decipher.
Yeah, and schools are not even equipped. That is the only mode they have. Okay, if you look at NIT or IIT, the institute is well established. We have the resources. Okay. We have online classrooms or what we call the technology-enabled classroom. These are ready things. Okay, some of us have used these advanced things. Okay, smart boards are there in every class, and we use them. But when you go to the school level, it's only blackboards that are there. So teachers, and you see, we need a lot of trained teachers. Okay. Now if you look at the trainings, people, the basic education you need for a teacher, B.Ed. Now B.Ed syllabus is very surprisingly pre-independent one. You will see all sorts of things which I found, many of these things are very irrelevant now. Okay, technology has changed a lot of things, but yet these things are taught. The teacher is not equipped to handle any sort of online stuff. Okay. Even coming back to NITs also, I have seen, so I'm some of like my colleagues, they are not very comfortable reading a book in the electronic format. Many people prefer to just take printouts and then go through it. Okay. But students are more familiar. Anyone who has a smartphone, I've seen the entire book is in the smartphone. He's reading the book. Okay. So, the generational gap or the digital divide, whatever you try to say, that is existing, and it becomes very vividly noticeable when you have a situation like this.
So the next question, I guess it's going to be a bit controversial. Many might not like this question, but still I'd like to ask. Before we really go into the basic problem of having an internet connection or about the school education, I'd just like to ask that India has, every time and now people have made this comment that India is actually manufacturing engineers. They are not really into that crew of giving something back to the society in a meaningful way. So keeping that scenario in mind, is this online system that is going on right now for educating the engineering students going to hamper more?
See, if you look very deeply into the education policy, okay, you have to go to Nehru's vision of India, how he saw that India should be built. He started with the big dams, which he called the temples of India, and then to build this steel plants, Raurkela steel plant, Vilai steel plant, and all this. You needed engineers. India did not have engineers at that time. Okay, so that time, slowly the IITs were started, and then we had the regional engineering colleges, the state engineering colleges. The concept was to develop indigenous power, indigenous manpower, okay, who could run the industries. Okay. Now, what happened is, as a parent, if your son or daughter is going for engineering, you know that within 4 years, the probability of getting a job is 90%. If your son or daughter opts for any other stream, you don't know when he or she will get a job. So this scenario, the commercial angle of getting a job, it became the prime focus of the student. Okay. And I'd say the parents are more responsible here. Okay. More than the students, the parents thought it's the easiest way I can get my son established. Okay. And that's why they somehow forced students, and that's why all this these things, coaching classes. Coaching classes came up, and the scenario like you have JEE and you have coaching classes, so it's a nexus kind of a thing. Okay, and then what happened? The real cream who should have become the engineers, okay, they became engineers. They found that they are not suitable for the jobs here. So they became the Satya Nadella or the Sundar Pichai by going abroad. Okay. The next string of people, they remained in India. Okay. Like I've handled the placement of two NITs for roughly 10 12 years maybe. So the exact scenario I've seen, that extremely bright students, the brightest ones, they don't leave the studies. They go for MTech, PhD, go abroad. The next group of students, they try to look for the core jobs. So in mechanical, you get core jobs in India. Okay, good companies are there. In civil, you can get. Okay, but when it comes to electronics, hardly any scope in India.
So mostly even in being from a different branch, they are going to call centers and all.
Yeah,
the institute do say that they have a 100% placement.
Yeah,
but the thing is, it's not.
Means ultimately, what we say as the IT sector. IT sector is the back end of office in US or in some other country. Okay, so that's the reality.
So how much impact this scenario is going to have on these sections? The online classes.
Online classes. See, it again depends on the students. Today's students are very, bright ones. They know what is right for them, how to get a job. They are aware students. It's not like they are unaware. Okay. So for them, what happens is they are bright enough to gather the knowledge they need. Okay. And in today's scenario, if you just click your topic in YouTube, you will get videos of almost every subject. Okay. MIT open course, I think what was it called? Open OCW, no?
The
Open
books,
course.
yeah, open courses, the books
Yeah,
courses.
yeah. So that is there, and from every university they are doing that. So it is available. And in India also, if you look at NPTEL, Swayam NPTEL, a good amount of very high quality material is there. So students can get the material. They don't have to depend on their own institute. Okay. So students are aware of that. Students can gather the information. Okay. So one way what I see, this online thing can be a boon if the student can utilize it. Okay. But again, student has his or her own limitations. One is, my experience is that students dream of a lot of things, but the execution, it's always they keep things pending.
So what's your take on if someone compares this from a personal point of view? How do you consider online classes and live classroom session? What is the advantage and the disadvantage? I know it's a very broad topic, but in short.
No, you are asking me my views as a professor?
Exactly. No, not as a professor. Might be as a parent. I think that is more important right now.
No, as a parent, okay, let me tell it this way. When I make my classes, okay, so before going to my classes, I also try to see what is available on the subject. Because I know my students will not view my lecture if it is not interesting. Okay. So I have to compete with that MIT professor to build up that quality thing. Okay. Because online your video, you make a mistake and the mistake becomes viral, and you become a joke for a lot of people. So yeah, that way it becomes a little bit, we are also a little bit apprehensive over that. Okay, as a parent, when I see, it's like, we're getting the information. Okay, now again it depends on the teacher. Okay, for my son, I've seen some teachers are tech savvy. They have somehow installed some kind of a video screen recorder in their mobile, and they're sending the videos. Okay, so a lot of information is there. Some people are using PowerPoint with a background voice, and that is not a bad idea actually. Okay, but then there are certain subjects. Okay, in those subjects, I find even if it is online, it needs live interactions. Okay, say geometry. If I just draw a three-dimensional figure in front of my class, a student replicate what I do in the board. Okay. But if I just put a diagram, okay, the student will never be able to draw that same thing, because drawing needs a technique. Okay, where do you start and where do you end? Certain figures. Okay. So those things, or how to deduce an equation. Where do you start? If I just deduce the whole thing in a sheet of paper and I present it somewhere, you just try to decipher what is there. But if I can get live and I see this is happening, that's the next. And so it makes more sense.
Yeah, so I guess the traditional classrooms can never be replaced by online classes.
There's no replacement for the traditional mode. I don't see that happening. Okay, maybe the technology is improving and
It can be enhanced, but
it
not
can-
really
yeah.
replaced.
okay, but technology, it cannot replace the human interaction. Say when I do a class, maybe in I was comparing. Okay, normally my class in the classes I take, it's a 1 hour class. So the actual matter that I teach in the class, that may be around 40 minutes. But remaining 20 minutes is the interaction with the students. I keep on asking, have you understood this? Then I try to correlate with something else. Sometimes I totally digress from the topic just to explain something. So now these things don't happen in the online class. Online class, whatever I do it in 40 minutes, same stuff in an online lecture, I do it in 15 minutes. So when I do a 40-45 minutes lecture in recording, that is basically 3 classes condensed into it.
So, if we just go into more basics of our online classes, what are the difficulties that we currently face? Because I have seen my student facing a lot of difficulty with the internet connections. In India, we are really not equipped with a 4G connection in its proper sense. It's actually 3G or more for 2G. So every student is not getting that kind of facility, because we have heard recently that some students even have committed suicide and all because of these issues. So is it like a good idea to promote online classes in such scenario?
See, if you look at this, look at these things, then you have to go deeper into it. Okay. Now, that way you cannot say it's online education. Okay. In India, we have different segments of education: primary level, middle school, secondary, higher secondary, undergraduate, postgraduate, and so on. For every segment, the teachers are different. Okay. For the say in primary and lower ones, you have a Montessori training, kindergartens. Okay. Then you for the middle and this lower primary and all, you have the D-led, D-L-E-D. Okay. And then for the higher classes, you need this B.Ed. Okay. Then comes the professional education, where you really get the experts in particular subjects. Okay. When you go to something like say physics MSc, you don't get a teacher who's just physics MSc. You get someone who's in theoretical physics, someone in nuclear, someone in condensed matter. So the students are taught by the experts. Now when it comes to online education, we are not segregating this thing. If the college student is getting a WhatsApp bombardment, the KG student is also getting a WhatsApp bombardment. So that way it has becoming totally meaningless. Moreover, network problems are there. Okay. Because the entire telecom industry, if you see, the development is city centric. The cities got 3G, and as you go far away from the city, you have the simple GSM connection. Then the cities became 4G, and somewhere down the line, up to some limit, you will find it is 3G. You cross that limit, it's still GSM. So you cannot have the same kind of online stuff for the cities and the remote places. And in an institute like NIT, what happens, I have students who come from every corner of India. And some of them are in such remote districts that, if I send a letter, it reaches maybe after 20-25 days. There are even maybe speed post, I don't know it reaches there or not. That kind of places are there. So those places, the network is very, very basic kind of a network. In this thing, it's depressing. If a student who's living, say, in a border village of Meghalaya, without network, and he is unable to study just because the mobile doesn't work. It's very frustrating for him. He or she might be a very good student. Whereas in the city, just because of the location, you get a lot of facilities. Like you have the fiber optic broadbands and all, which are extremely fast, and through that you can actually have live sessions. So it's creating a kind of a digital divide. That's the new caste system of India, the 4G and the GSM.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, what's your, like, you have been in the field for 17 plus years in the field of teaching, and we have been, before that you have been studying, I have been studying all my life, and then we have never come across this idea of having online classes, and the COVID scenario is new for many of us, most of us, never been happened before. So what's your advice on how it should be handled regarding education, only regarding education?
See, what I find interesting is that, mobiles have limitations. They don't reach everywhere. Not everyone has a smartphone. But the TV network is far more accessible. Doordarshan has reached each and every corner of India. And in the remotest of villages, you find that a TV is there. So, if somehow the content is available, then Doordarshan or any TV network can be very effectively used. See, government has made a very good initiative called Swayam. In Swayam, if you go, you find a lot of courses. But the thing is, it caters to one segment, the higher education. You see, it's very rich there. And if you go to technical education, it's world class. But we need content in primary level, in middle school level, and the secondary level. And it's not that India cannot make it. If you look at the YouTube videos of many private online apps are there, it's very rich. India can do it. So what I would suggest is, why not government does something very simple? It sits with the education department of every state and identifies. See, if it is class 3, the class 3 maths is more or less same across. Science, it's more or less same. If you look at geography, more or less same. So whatever is the common content, maybe that's 70% of the syllabus. Just pick that up, make good lectures. And then once you record the lectures, you run it on Doordarshan and have, instead of having very fancy channels, have channels by the name of class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5, and so on up to class 12. 12 channels catering to everyone. And the programs are continuously rerun. Or you can also have something like, Monday is maths day, Tuesday is science day, Wednesday is geography day. Language education, I know it becomes a dicey thing, but basic English, grammar, that remains. Use that. Whatever is extra, that, we can, that's local, say local geography, local history, a student will somehow learn it. local languages, they learn it. Okay. It has a lot to do with, more to do with politics than the real education. But whatever is the basic thing, basic maths, basic geography, basic science, basic history, the history of the freedom struggle, the Mughal India, those things remain the same. It doesn't change from region to region. Okay. So those things can be just brought in, made into very high quality lectures, and you just transmit it over in TV. Okay. Like we can have a few TVs in every village. The panchayat can have a couple of TV sets. If not panchayat, you can have community centers kind of thing. And mostly you will find that most households have TVs. TVs have become affordable. It is used that way. I find that makes things, at least it reaches people.
So I think we have touched a lot of ground realities here. We have kept it as non-controversial as possible. What are your final conclusions, especially for the parents and the teachers?
See, I'll say pandemic has happened. That's the reality. We have to accept it. It has brought changes in many of the things, and it is happening. Okay. So, as a parent, encourage your child. Okay. If you have access to net, show him good YouTube videos, inspire. Okay. Because we have to support each other and morally boost up each other. No one is going to do. Government, they can give us some subsidies. They can give us a little bit of treatment. But government is not going to boost our moral. The moral boosting has to be done by people who know, who we know, the people who are known to us. Okay. So, we need to give encouraging pat to the children, maybe a good compliment to the teacher. Okay. That way.
That's I think I said concluding, but I think this is a very important question for the teachers who are there. There are some teachers, definitely they might be around about 40 or 50. They're very good teachers. They really teach well in a classroom session. But they are technically, if I can use the word handicapped, it becomes a bit difficult for them to actually go on with the online classes. I think the frustration creeps in the teacher also, because we do have to understand the teacher's point of view also. What is your input on that?
See, we have adopted, I'll tell you an interesting story. When I was doing my PhD, so that was I was using a computer, one of those things, 386 or something. Okay. And I was using DOS. And my total hard disk was 1 MB. And I was quite happy, 1 MB. Then one day, my PhD guide, he got in someone and he put a 1 GB hard drive there. I got mad. 1 GB hard drive means I can do anything I want, as if I've got the entire world with me. Okay. And then I was very comfortable using DOS, all these commands, cd ... and I was doing my typing. That time there was a thing called the kare. That was used to type the scientific.
Did you use Lotus and all that time?
Yeah, Lotus I did use.
Okay.
Kare was good enough.
Okay.
Because I was not into programming and all. I just needed a computer to type out my papers and all. Okay. And then what happened, I went for a week's break, and when I come back, I see Windows 95 installed. And I got mad. What the hell? DOS was so good, and why do I need to use the mouse? It's a totally useless thing. Okay. So, see, the attitude was that. Then I was initially very reluctant, but then once I started using Windows 95 and the mouse, then slowly I understood that it's a much better system compared to DOS. Okay, so and this way it kept on happening. Okay, so the same thing happened with your lives also. Initially, we had those basic mobile phones.
Yeah. Started with a landline and then
Yeah.
shifted to a bar phone.
Yeah, and now you will see even the child is very savvy with a smartphone like this. Okay, and we all are savvy with touch. We can type messages in WhatsApp. So we have adapted to the changes. Same thing is happening with education also. Okay, your classroom is becoming wider. You are not restricted to the four walls. So just think positively and think that you are teaching to a bigger audience. Okay, you can do it, I know. It's because ultimately what you need is a mobile phone only, nothing more than that. Whatever you are writing in the blackboard, stand near the blackboard and write it, record it and send it. That makes more sense than just, snapshotting a note and sending it over WhatsApp. So we need to adapt to the change. That would be my message to parents, teachers, everyone.
So even for the students also, I guess they should be sure that they don't make what is it? जो हम लोग बोलते हैं ना बहाने बना रहे हैं.
See, ultimately you have to be answerable to yourself.
Right. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
You may be cheating for the exams, but doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Cheat. We make everything open book. Doesn't matter. Okay. But at the end of the day, you are answerable to yourself. Just keep that in mind.
Right. I think that was a very good conclusion. मैंने दिल की बात यही है कि you should be answerable to yourself. Honesty is with you. That's very important. So I'd like to thank Ayon sir for giving us his valuable time. I think you have taken a lot of positive points out of this. I hope you like the video. We are also coming up with more videos of this sort. We're mainly focusing on the education sector, but every now and then we're going to come out with different topics. So with that, we'd like to end the interview, sir, and thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.